How's the weather on the way in, actually? Good. Okay. Well, after your appointment today, I'm supposed to go get my lunch, so I might take a trip down to my favorite coffee shop, not too far from here. Yeah, you know the one. Yeah, you're local, aren't you? Yeah, I thought I saw you around once or twice. Yeah, apologies for this. Usually, we would be a lot more on point about this kind of thing. But, unfortunately, I've had a little bit of extra work in my lap today, and I've had to deal with it. But, if I just... And those settings look good. Yeah, perfect. There we go. That is that sent. So, welcome to your appointment. What can I help you with today? Okay, yeah, you mentioned in your email to us that you were looking for a holiday. Yeah. And from what I can see here, you've booked up quite a bit of time. Yeah. Absolutely. You've earned it. You deserve the time off. Okay. So, let's get down to the brass tacks then. What exactly are you looking for from this holiday, right? Are you looking for something more sun and sand and beaches, or are you maybe more into something a little bit more casual, say? Okay, right. Hang on. Okay. So what I say... So, like, I had my holiday last year, which I really enjoyed, where I went to Majorca, one of the large islands in the Mediterranean, and I will highly recommend it to anyone. The hotel was great, the public transport was fantastic, it was always on time, it was relatively cheap as well, which you wouldn't really think of it for an island, but it was really good. Weather was fantastic. It rained once or twice while we were there, but it was like torrential. It came down super fast, but it was like over in less than an hour usually, and like less than an hour later it was usually gone. Like you couldn't tell it was raining. So, beg pardon, sorry. We would end up with this really nice situation where like we would head out after the rain and people would still be kind of getting ready, but we'd get to places, you know, that would be really busy and kind of hard to get into otherwise. We also got to see the old Roman town, the old town there in Alacunda Bay. I'd highly recommend it if you're into like historical sites. It's got some really cool stuff in it. I'd recommend it, honestly. Oh, but you know, what are you sort of looking for? Okay, right. Okay. Yeah. So, looking for something a little bit more casual then. So, when you say casual, like, what exactly do you mean by casual, right? Oh, okay. So you want something where you can like get up and then go do things and then come back, and you know you don't really have like a set schedule. Yeah. Are you looking for something more temperate, or are you okay with like going somewhere a bit more warm, like maybe Sicily or the Mediterranean, maybe even North Africa? You want to kind of stay a bit closer to home? Okay, so let's see. What I was thinking, man. You still want something warm though, right? That's a bit of it. Okay. What about something historical then? Are you interested in that at all, or would you prefer something that's purely for fun, for example? You would prefer something that has a bit of history involved if you feel like getting involved in like a museum trip, for example. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking there is, right, we got a few options here. Hang on, let me pull it up for you. I can show it to you. Okay, so since you've already got like some of the best packages that we have to offer, because you're a member here, of course, and you've also been gathering up some very valuable membership points, is options for Denmark. There is options for Stockholm in Sweden, which I've been to. It's a great place. If you'd prefer something a little bit closer to home, there are options for Bordeaux, for Paris. There's also an option on here for Amsterdam, though I prefer Rotterdam, but that's personal preference. There's also a few other options. So, for example, we can get you into an interrailing if you've got any interest in doing that kind of thing. So, for example, you would fly from Dublin to London. You would then take the underground tubes to Paris, at which point you would spend 3 days in Paris, all inclusive at the hotel, and then you would travel basically in a loop around Europe. You would go from France to the Netherlands via Belgium. So if you wanted to stop for a day, say in Antwerp, you could do that. Then you would stop in Rotterdam, Amsterdam, and then you would go into Germany. You could stop in places like Bonn, Cologne, various large cities on the western side of Germany, and then you would travel up towards Denmark, where you would spend a few days in Denmark, and then you'd come back down into Berlin. You would spend a few days there. Of course, the amount of time you want to spend in places is up to you. If you would prefer to spend a week in Berlin and not stop off in Denmark, say, you could do that. Then you would head over to Poland for a bit, Krakow or Warsaw, depending on where you want to go. You would then go down into Hungary and then over and across down into like Bulgaria and into Greece, and then back up the coast through places like Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, Serbia, and then you'd come back into Austria, into northern Italy, a few days maybe in Milan, Vienna, places like that. It's a great time. I have a few friends who've highly recommended it. If you're interested, that's a viable option. However, if you prefer, say, a 2-week to 3-week long full-on vacation, say full-on American style vacation where you go somewhere, you're waited on, you have the facilities all to do whatever you want in the local area, there is a option here in your budget, because of the discounts you've earned from your loyalty points, to head to Madrid for 4 weeks. Now, I know it said here that you're only really on holiday for 3 weeks. However, I know what you do as a job. I know you've listed it here. So what you could do, if you feel like it, is you could head out there for a week to start. Take a week, say, to sort of get to know the place, sort of learn the local area, get an idea of what you're going to be doing when you're over there, and work from Madrid for a week. Then, for example, you could decide, hey, I've been here for a week now, my work's done, I'm going to throw the laptop into my suitcase, into my work suitcase, and I'm going to forget about it for the rest of this time off. At which point, of course, you would have plenty of time to go do whatever you want. Now, this is a fully inclusive option. However, if you would prefer, we can get you a rented accommodation. Obviously, the rented accommodation would include a budget that we've provided, which you can see here is quite substantial for basically everything that you would need for, say, food, for any kind of items, so like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothbrush, toothpaste, anything that you don't want to bring with you from home to your place where you're staying. We have that option. We've also got a similar option for Montpellier or Bordeaux in France. If you prefer somewhere a little bit closer to home, maybe a smaller city as well. I quite like Bordeaux. It's quite a fun place. It's got a lot of really good things going on there. Okay. You have some interest in seeing some local museums. Okay, so yeah, Montpellier and Bordeaux are great for that. So is Madrid, obviously, and Paris. So what are you sort of leaning towards? Do you want like an actual full-on vacation, or are you looking for some interrailing, or maybe a mix? Yeah, we could do a mix. So hang on. 1 second. Let's pull up a few options there. So, give me a list of cities that you really want to visit. Paris, okay. Amsterdam, stressful thing to visit, unless you're going there to sort of see those things, experience those things. They could be quite heavy. Yeah. So, Bulgaria then. Yeah. So, let's see. Hungary and Bulgaria. So, you want to go to... One moment. So, you want to go to Budapest, and then you want to go to Sofia as well. Budapest. Sofia. You thinking about stopping off in Athens, maybe? No, okay. What about Thessaloniki? Yeah, Thessaloniki. Yeah, so here's the thing about capital cities, right? They're great if you're if you're into the hustle and bustle of being in those massive cities with constant things to do, and that's great if you're into that sort of thing. However, there is obviously the second biggest city, which I will always say is often the best city in any country. For example, I'm Irish, if you couldn't tell from the way I'm talking, from my accent, and I vastly prefer Cork over Dublin any day of the week. Don't tell anyone from Dublin I said that, they'll kill me. But Cork has a much nicer feel to it. It's a lot less busy. There's a lot more calm and chill sort of vibe going on. It's a little bit less stuffy, I guess would be the way to put it. And then from what I understand from friends of mine, co-workers who've been to Thessaloniki, agree with me on that one. So Thessaloniki, and then after Greece, do you have any idea of where you'd like to sort of make your way back from? Right. Okay. So you wanted to stop in Serbia. Now the question is, do you want to stop in Romania and Serbia? Because what we could do is say Budapest to Bucharest to Sofia, then to Thessaloniki, and then back through Serbia and into Zagreb, and then maybe into Slovenia, maybe into Venice then. Right, so what we could do is say flights from, let's say, let me take a look here, what our options are. Alright, just running the best stuff. Good thing you've got all those good deals going on. Alright, let's take a look. Okay. Right, so what I see here is you basically you're flying into Paris, okay? So that's going to have to be an option. You're going to fly into Paris. Then you can take the train from Paris to Amsterdam. Then you can fly from Amsterdam to Berlin. And then from Berlin, did you want to stop off in Prague? Yeah, you do. Okay, so what you can do then is we set up here for a train ride from Berlin to Prague, and then you will be taking your time in Prague, it looks like, yeah. Right, so Prague then means that's your last sort of train stop on that loop. So you're in Prague for how long? A week, okay. That makes a lot of sense, right? Because there's so much to see in Prague, and the nightlife there is great as well if you're into that sort of thing. So then you take a flight from Prague to Budapest, and then Budapest you'll take a flight to Bucharest, and then Bucharest you'll take a train from Bucharest to Sofia to Thessaloniki, and then you'll take looks like a flight from Thessaloniki to... Okay, so here's the big question, right? Because this is the problem with a lot of this area of Europe. Excuse me. There is this sort of secondary option, right, where you could take a train or you could fly. However, I would recommend taking a train along that coast. The Montenegro, Albania, Croatian coast is so pretty. There's so much to do there. Lots of friends who've been there said it's fantastic. Got some of the best beaches in Europe. Okay, so you want to take a train along that coast. Okay. So probably then a train from Thessaloniki to Belgrade. Then you can take a train down to the coast, all the way along the coast, then up to Zagreb, where you can take a flight, a very short flight, I will admit, to Milan, which is your second last stop, it looks like, on your list here. Then you would go to Marseille. Yes, that's your last stop, Marseille, it looks like. Where you would be for another week, which, from what I understand, from what you've told me, I think it would suit you really well, because you would have all this really busy stuff prior to all that, and then you would end up in, the south of France beach, beautiful city, lots of stuff to do. If you want to, you could even go see Marseille play in a football match, or if you're not into that, hey, there's plenty of other sports around, or if you're not into any sports at all, there's plenty of things to do in Marseille. You can take a short, hop across the Gulf to Montpellier if you want to. There's also Avignon nearby if you're into that kind of thing, or even Provence. Maybe Nice as well. You've got so many options along that bottom coast, along the south coast of France, that you could go to and spend some time at if you wanted to during that week. And they're all close enough as well, relatively, that you wouldn't need to worry about, taking too long to get there via train. So yeah, you interested in that? You are? Perfect. Okay. So what I can do then is, let's see here. Okay. And none of your details have changed, right? Same name, same address. Yeah, okay, cool. Anything else you want to add? You get complimentary travel insurance, obviously. Complimentary health insurance. Let's see, what else do you get that's complimentary? Of course, you get your deposit paid back at the end of it all, because we like to give you a little something back for putting your trust in us. So the deposit of, let's see, it is, where did they put that on here? I always forget where they leave things on these application forms. There it is. Your deposit of €1,250. So 1250.00 euros will be paid back to you via direct debit into your bank account once this is done. That is our way of saying thank you for trusting us. Obviously, we make our money off of other things, which we're quite happy to say, because, we want to provide you with the best service and the best options. So what you'll get out of this is a nearly 4-week trip. So, maybe extend your holiday and work, or if you want to, you can always spend that last week, semi-working in Montpellier, or Marseille, I should say. Either one, right? And then, of course, there is, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to grab your data here, let's see. Okay. Looking at your health records here. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah, everything looks great. You've no particular medical reasons for us to deny you any kind of travel coverage, which is good. We don't have any particular, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Apologies. We have no particular terms and conditions for you to, be worried about or have to even take a moment to care about. So, I think you are all good to go. All I will need from you, I need your passport number. Okay. Yeah. Now, perfect. And I need your PIN IBAN for your bank account so we can process the deposit. Thessaloniki, back along the coast to Belgrade, then down to the coast, then over to Milan, and finally Marseille. That's correct, yes. Perfect. Now, we have your train tickets and flights all booked for you once this is all processed today, so you should receive all of that in your email. You'll be able to transfer all the tickets over to your phone's wallet, or alternatively, if you want to back up, and I always highly recommend you do this, print them out and keep them in your backpack or in a wallet or a purse, or hell, even your back pocket's fine, as long as you don't end up in a situation where your phone dies and you've no way to prove that you have a ticket. That's the one thing I will always say to people: make sure you have a physical ticket just in case. And okay, let's get you on this holiday. There we go. You're booked in. Now, you should receive all of your information in the next 24 hours. Our team will contact you if anything changes. Pricing will never change, however, some flight times may change. Train times will sometimes fluctuate, but we for sure will have everything into your hands by the end of next working day. So, thank you so much for visiting. We'll make sure that everything's sorted.